Welcome to Your Skin, Your Story, and thank you for tuning in to my podcast. For those who do not know, my name is Diyah, and I want to take it back, but I don't want to take you all the way back. Not too far back from when I first started my entrepreneurship journey as a Mary Kay consulting in high school, and not too far back when I started to upholster furniture and turned that into a business. Not too far back to when I joined all these different MLM companies. But I want to touch on a sweet spot in my life. Back in 2019, prior to COVID, I started my own vegan skincare line. And during this journey, when I first started, the dream was not black and white. There was a lot of gray areas. But I still believed in the vision, even though the vision was not exactly clear. When I left Rochester, New York with my family and we moved to Pennsylvania, we didn't exactly have a full-on plan. It was more so having enough money in a bank account to move, knowing we outgrown the town that we lived in, and wanting a way out. A way out to start a new life, a new journey, and new beginnings with more opportunity. We took a leap of faith. With $10,000 sitting in my account, with my 2 children, my mom and sister, we all decided that enough was enough. Have you ever been so sick and tired of being sick and tired that you are willing to do anything it takes to sacrifice, to be able to start a new life, a new chapter? Well, we actually took action. And the plan was, let's go to Pennsylvania. As my mom started her real estate career, my sister, she was going to start working as we were out in Pennsylvania, living with my mom. I was also going to be starting a career, finding a job, but we were just living off of faith, walking by faith, not by sight, where $10,000 felt like enough for a new beginning. We said we were going to give ourselves 30 days. We were going to stay in hotels, Airbnbs, whatever we had to do. And in 30 days, we'll all find jobs or careers. And then from there, we'll find our own apartment or a place where we all can share until we branch off on our own. Of course, the plan didn't go as planned, but we were doing better than we were before, and that was all that mattered to us at the time. So, long story short, together as a family, we were living in Pennsylvania, from Airbnb to hotel, motel, and we're figuring it out. I was driving the U-Haul truck with my car hitched to the back. My mom had the family all in one vehicle in the front. As I followed her, all I felt was excitement, joy, bliss, knowing that we're driving away from our past and entering into our future. Hours go by. We see different climate changes and different sceneries, and we just felt like brighter days are coming. But the journey was not easy. It was a lot of rocks and obstacles that was along the way that we had to hurdle over and navigate through, beyond the GPS, beyond the roadmap. But our resilience pushed us through. And with faith, unwavering faith, we were able to accomplish our goals. So, living in a hotel, I'll never forget, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Patel Motel. We stayed there, and I was able to find a job, really a career field for most people, working at Capital Blue Cross in the call center, making a decent amount for us to be able to sustain the little things. My mom, she was getting her side hustles in, door dashing when it was hot, Uber eating, Grub hubbing, whatever it is she can be able to register that vehicle to be able to make some money day by day so we can eat. Also, my sister, she was just figuring out her life as well. Putting in job applications, eventually working at FedEx warehouses or UP, whatever she can get her hands on that would give her the opportunity. We had people that would help us along the way, friends and friends of friends, which we were very thankful for. And sometimes the lifestyle wasn't always aligned. However, we did what we had to do to get by. And as I was staying in a hotel in 2019, before COVID, as I was working at Capital Blue Cross, I was able to maintain by putting all of our things in storage, paying these weekly dues, and boy, were they expensive. We was better off just renting and getting into our own place, but it wasn't easy to always come by, especially when you're not familiar with the areas. So as we was doing our research and we were pivoting and we were coming up with these plans, 30 days have already passed. The deadline that we thought we would already be on our feet, it was feeling longer than expected. But we didn't give up hope. We just kept the faith. So I started a podcast, a motivational podcast for women in 2019. I remember walking down the halls of this hotel trying to find a quiet spot to record. And I would sit there at the stairwell in the corners, just talking for 10, 15, 30 minutes at a time. It was an outlet for me, really. But I was hitting the charts and doing well on my podcast. I didn't think or know that there was anyone paying attention. There were no likes, no comments, no nothing. But I just kept going anyways because I needed to release. And I felt that there was someone going through something similar that needed to hear my voice. It wasn't until I stopped doing the podcast that people actually told me I should have kept going. They actually enjoyed tuning into my podcast. But I pivoted. I wanted to start my own skincare line. It was always a dream of mine to have my own business. From learning so many skill sets and having experience with different MLM companies from the beauty industry, the health and wellness industry, I wanted to create something of my own. So I did. I started doing my research right here in this hotel. And as I started doing my research, I was able to partner with a manufacturing company to make my vegan skincare products. I started testing them out. As I was living in this hotel and going through an amount of stress from just all of the different moves, arrangements, and things prolonging and not going as planned, I did notice changes in my skin. I had bumps, dry patches, breakouts, and I was just not happy or feeling confident in the skin I was in at the time. So, as I started using these products, I noticed how it healed my skin, how it transformed my skin, and how I started to feel confident all over again, despite my circumstances. I knew that I had my hands on a product that was going to empower other people. So I started the brand, even living in a hotel. And eventually, we were able to get on our own feet. But before then, I remember staying in shelters and at friends of friends' houses that I wasn't aligned with. And I was still going with this business, with this vision. I would be in the bathroom, in the shelter, doing a skincare routine, marketing my brand and my business. I will be in the bathrooms at the hotel, making content with my skincare line. And no one had no clue what I was going through. They just knew I was excited and that I started something. Eventually, when we got out of the shelters and into our own apartments, I was then able to start going to vendor events in Pennsylvania. And primarily Philly seemed to have been a place for me to be able to expand my reach. So after I moved from Harrisburg to Humboldt, a really small town, entrepreneurship really didn't exist too much there. It was almost like a ghost town. Literally, I lived across the street from a graveyard. So imagine that. Neighbors were almost non-existent. So I would drive over an hour and some change away on a weekly basis to go out and market my business. And I've met wonderful people out there in Philly along the way. Spiritual groups. And I still have people from this day that still supports me and my brand that I made close friends with in that area. So shout out to Philly. However, as soon as I started getting my business off the ground, as soon as I started actually empowering the community and making a name for myself, which at the time my former business name was called Femistic, COVID hit. COVID hit hard. And for someone like me, who was always optimistic, I thought COVID was going to last only 2 weeks. As we were packing up the office at Capital Blue Cross, my 9 to 5, working from home, and also marketing and starting this new business, I've realized that this pandemic is going to be longer than expected. And I was not prepared nor ready for it. Long story short, we were able to overcome those challenges through resilience, faith, and determination. It wasn't always the motivation, because there were so many times where I did not feel motivated, but I kept pushing on. And now today, as you know, my vegan skincare line now caters to not only women but men as well, under a new name, Glow with Purpose, which is also expanded now into a wellness brand overall. I am so proud of myself. Sometimes we be so hard on ourselves, but when we reflect on where we were and where we are and where we are going, sometimes you have to be the one to clap for yourself, take a bow, and give God the glory. Stick around for more episodes on your skin, your story. This was part 1 of the Glow with Purpose series, and how resilience have overshadowed and overpowered any obstacle that came our way, and how true it is to walk by faith and not by sight, no matter what your circumstance look like. If you have a vision, I encourage you, I empower you to go for it. Go for it no matter where you are. Don't make excuses. If I can do it with children, if I can do it when I was homeless, if I can do it off of one source of income, if I was able to do it even during times where there were a pandemic, you can do it too. Thank you for tuning in to Your Skin, Your Story. Until next time, stay tuned.